The Panama Canal is one of the most vital waterways in the world, connecting the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. Over 13,000 ships pass through it every year, carrying nearly 5% of global trade. The Panama Canal handles 40% of all U.S. container traffic, underlying its criticality to the U.S. economy. In 2021, over 70% of all ships passing through the canal were heading to or coming from the U.S. In recent weeks, President-elect Trump has made threats to reclaim it. Given that the canal in question is in Panama, why is this even a possibility, and why is the canal such a big deal on the world stage? In this video, we'll uncover the fascinating yet often brutal history of the Panama Canal, how it came to be, and the recent controversy surrounding its ownership. Let's dive in. Before we jump in, please take a quick moment to subscribe to our channel to never miss out on more great content. The story of the Panama Canal begins in the late 19th century when French engineer Ferdinand de Lesseps, famed for his work on the Suez Canal, attempted to carve a path through Panama. But this effort turned into one of the most tragic engineering failures in history. Challenged by the region's rugged terrain, relentless tropical rains, and a lack of advanced technology, the French project was doomed from the start. Between 1881 and 1889, an estimated 22,000 workers lost their lives. These men, many recruited from the Caribbean and other tropical regions, faced brutal working conditions, malnutrition, and the deadly threat of diseases like malaria and yellow fever. Sanitation and medical infrastructure were nearly non-existent, and workers were forced to endure horrific circumstances with little hope of survival. The vast majority of these laborers were black Caribbean workers. Unlike their counterparts on the Gold Roll during the later American effort, they had no formal compensation systems or benefits for their families in case of death. This loss of life underscores the immense human cost and systemic inequalities tied to early attempts at building the canal. After nearly a decade of effort as well as tragic human loss, the project collapsed, leaving behind only a few incomplete structures. The project became dogged by allegations of corruption, with French officials being accused of taking bribes. Eventually, de Lesseps faced criminal proceedings and was ordered to pay a fine as well as face prison time. Fortunately for him, the prison time was overturned on the grounds it had been more than 3 years since the crimes in question were committed. In 1904, the United States stepped in. Armed with new engineering techniques and medical advancements to combat diseases, the U.S. completed the canal in around 10 years. On August 15, 1914, the first ship passed through the Panama Canal, marking the beginning of a new era for global trade. The U.S. construction phase of the Panama Canal was an incredible feat of engineering, but it came at a significant human cost. Over 55,000 workers from across the world participated in the effort, with a large proportion coming from the Caribbean, particularly Jamaica and Barbados. Tragically, approximately 5,600 workers lost their lives during the project, many due to diseases like malaria and yellow fever, while others perished in accidents caused by the perilous working conditions. The U.S. implemented a discriminatory wage system known as the Gold and Silver Rolls. The Gold Roll was reserved for white American and European workers, who received higher wages, superior housing, and other benefits. In contrast, the Silver Roll, which included black Caribbean laborers and other non-white workers, offered significantly lower pay and substandard living conditions. As an example, in 1914, the last year of construction, 61 Gold Roll workers died compared to 353 Silver Roll laborers. When it came to compensation for families of workers who lost their lives, there was little support, particularly for those on the Silver Roll. These inequities highlight not only the racial and social disparities of the time but also the immense sacrifices made by those who built the canal. To address the high mortality rates, the U.S. launched extensive sanitation campaigns, drastically reducing the prevalence of mosquito-borne illnesses and ultimately ensuring the project's completion. For decades, the United States controlled not only the canal but also the Panama Canal Zone, a 10-mile-wide strip of land on either side of the canal. It was a vital military and economic asset, especially during World War II and the Cold War. But this control came at a cost. Many Panamanians felt that their sovereignty was being undermined. Tensions grew, leading to protests and calls for the canal to be returned to Panama. In 1977, U.S. President Jimmy Carter and Panamanian leader Omar Torrijos signed two historic treaties. These agreements laid out a plan to gradually transfer control of the canal to Panama. The process began in 1979, and by December 31, 1999, Panama had full sovereignty over the canal. This moment symbolized not only Panama's regained sovereignty but also its responsibility to manage one of the world's most critical waterways. Today, the Panama Canal is owned and operated by the Panama Canal Authority, ACP, an autonomous Panamanian government agency. The canal is a cornerstone of Panama's economy, generating billions of dollars in revenue each year. In 2016, a massive expansion project was completed, allowing even larger ships to pass through and reinforcing the canal's role as a vital trade route. Recently, US President Donald Trump sparked controversy by suggesting that the US should take back the Panama Canal. Trump's comments reflect concerns over rising canal fees and potential foreign influence in the region, particularly from China. However, Panama's government has firmly defended its sovereignty, stating that the canal is, and will remain, under Panamanian control. Reclaiming the canal would likely create international tensions and disrupt global trade. While some see Trump's statements as rhetoric, they highlight the enduring strategic importance of this waterway. The Panama Canal remains a lifeline for global commerce, handling over 800,000 barrels of oil and thousands of containers daily. However, challenges such as maintenance costs, environmental concerns, and competition from alternative routes like the Suez Canal are ever present. From its tumultuous construction to its modern-day operations, the Panama Canal is more than just a waterway. It's a testament to human ingenuity and resilience. As global trade continues to evolve, so too will the canal's story. What do you think about the canal's history and its future? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Before you go, please remember to subscribe to the channel and get notified as we launch more great content.